Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's Michigan Career Development Association Career Cafe. And I welcome Ann Kaskinen. She is the K-12 engagement specialist for the Michigan E-Library. And I was delighted to learn about this resource recently. And Ann doesn't want this to be a best kept secret in Michigan. And so we're really glad to have her here today to spread the word about this resource, which is the Michigan E-Library. And they have amazing resources for us as career development professionals. So Ann is going to be kind of digging in and sharing with us the knowledge she has about the tool and help us kind of navigate around it a little bit. So you can see by this slide that this is her passion. She's been in the library sciences for a long time. And I know just from talking to her about a month ago, she's really passionate about this tool. So welcome, Ann.
Thank you very much for having me. It's great to be here.
Good. Well, the people in our room today are career development professionals, both at the high school level and in private practice and at the college level. So lots of great audience for you today. So I'll let you share and get started when you're ready there.
Excellent. Thank you. So I did just drop today's slide deck in the chat for everyone, and I will be dropping a couple of other things in there as we go along. But that was a great introduction, so thank you. And I'll bring my slides up here. A little bit more. I am the K-12 engagement specialist for the Michigan E-Library, but I'm also employed by the Midwest Collaborative for Library Services. And we are a nonprofit that serve all libraries in Michigan and Indiana. And we're probably best known for group purchasing. We do that for public libraries and academic libraries in those two states. Much like REMC does for the K-12 community in Michigan, we do that for public libraries and academics. We also do a lot of consulting for strategic planning in those same two venues. So works out really well. And then if you, after today, you would like me to come back and deliver any kind of training to your organization, to whatever audience you think would best benefit, we do offer free training. All training is free. Today won't really be a training. It will be more like an overview because we're only going to be together 30 minutes. Most of my trainings are anywhere between 60 minutes and 2 hours virtually, and then up to 3 hours when we go back to in person. So the request form is on the slide deck here. Also, if you're ever having any issues at all with the Michigan E-Library e-resources, we have over 90 databases. You are welcome to send your questions, requests to meldatabases.help@mcls.org. And then at the bottom of the page here, if you would like to join the listserv that gives regular announcements of the Michigan E-Library databases, anyone in the state of Michigan is invited to join this list just to get updated announcements of those resources. So when I come out and I work with mostly K-12 community, we talk very much about what is important in MEL and why would we want to access it. First and foremost, our curriculum. We have resources that support K-12 in every discipline. Information literacy, certainly. Now the expectation at the end of second grade is that students will know the difference between primary and secondary sources. So understanding where information is coming from is paramount, especially in those early years. And then the essential instructional practices in literacy, we have a lot of content that supports those. And when I think of this, really there's a K3 document of the essentials, there's a 4-5 document, and there's a 6-12 document, and there's something in every single one of those that we have in MEL that is supportive. And in the elementary, it's essentials 2, 3, 5, and 8, which deals a lot with reading independently. And then when we get to the 6-12 document, the expectation is in 6th grade that students will know how to navigate a database. So there are a couple of things in play here that make it even more important for students to start accessing this content, especially if their districts are not purchasing databases on their behalf. We also have so much in here that it's a natural alignment with the Michigan Integrated Technology Competencies for Students, that knowledge constructor vein, and then the career college and military preparation resources, which is what we are going to focus on this morning. So in MEL, the layout, just to kind of give you an overview of what's in here. Michigan E-Library has been around since the mid-1990s. So quite a while, and there has been a major overhaul of the resources that we provide that happened about 2.5 years ago, where a lot of these items changed. So right now we have 3 different encyclopedias in the e-resources. We have a K-12, that's the Britannica encyclopedia, and then we also have 2 K-5 databases from World Book. We have the job and career resources, especially the LearningExpress library, which is where we will spend the majority of our time. And then we have 70 different databases with subscriptions to magazine, newspaper, professional journal articles. And there are 7 of those that are dedicated just for educators doing their own professional development. For example, Education Source or Academic Search Complete, or even for those of us who are a little older, we all remember Eric. Well, Eric is here. Eric is alive and well still, but now Eric has full text articles, so he's even better than he once was. So we love Eric. But what's great about this is we have all these different databases, and they're going to feed different information to you with different subscriptions. So I might open an MAS Complete, which is targeted just for general information for high school students, or I might go to something more specific like Caribbean Search, where all that content is coming directly out of the Caribbean, out of their newspapers, out of their professional journals. So we really want to understand that there are over 90 databases and they all have something different to offer. We have 5 different ebook collections in MEL. We have a high school, we have a K-8 collection, a public library collection, a business, and an academic collection for those doing research. We have 2 readers advisory tools. These would be Novelist and Novelist Plus K-8. And you can do a lot of things with these readers advisories tools. There are no actual books inside these resources, but everything you could possibly want to know about books. In fact, they've added a theme tool. So if you want to search by theme for content, for example, the latest theme that they added was celebrating identity. So I can go in and they have already categorized ages 0 to 8, 9 to 12, teen, and adult, and you can search by theme to find content in there. We have 10 reference centers in MEL. Sorry, I am trying to look at the chat. All right, very good. We have 10 reference centers in MEL, and these reference centers also have those magazine articles, professional journal content, but what's unique about the reference centers is they have special collections. So the History Reference Center, for example, has the 20th Century Video Collection. And so I can go in and pull up video clips, and what's great about that is with my video clips, I can link them into learning management systems. I can drop them into Google Drive. I can do all sorts of things to house these videos and share them freely. And I also have citation with them. So it's a lot more proficient than going out onto YouTube or out onto Google. And it's a much better way to introduce our students to that kind of content so that it can be cited. The last thing that we have is the early learning interactive databases. We have 3 of those for our early learners, pre-kindergarten through 3rd grade. And actually a couple of those have some incredible career readiness content associated with them. So I am going to move to the next page, but before I do, I am going to X out of this for just a second. If I can find my little X, there he is. And for those of you who are K-5, I actually have an entire presentation that is just for K-5 resources and career readiness. So I'm going to drop that into the chat right now so that any of you that are really interested in the K-5 content that we have available, you can kind of go through the slide deck and take a look at it. I'm not going to go through those today, but I just want you to know that they are available, and this is a training that we do offer, or I do offer. So we'll go back to the slides now. In MEL, there are going to be very specific areas where you can access certain content, and the databases that we're going to look at today are behind the e-resource portal. And we call these e-resources rather than databases because we have several things listed in there that are tools for learning. These databases, they're not necessarily databases on their own. So that's the terminology that we could come up with best. The e-journals, so all of the resources, all of those magazines, newspaper, professional journal content that feeds the databases. So if I go in and I do a search, say on diversity, and I get all those results back looking through all those different subscriptions, Let's say I don't want to do that. I just want to come up here to the eJournal portal and grab this week's People magazine and read it, or I want to go look at the New York Times today and read it. I don't have to go through a database to grab that content. I can come right up here to eJournals and just go to the different subscriptions that I want to read. So just know that People magazine is free to everyone in the state of Michigan, as is Ed Leadership, Phi Delta Kappan, so many professional journals, Literacy Today, Library Journal, School Library Journal. These are all free. And so we're going to take a minute to understand how to access those. And I did include step-by-step instructions in the slide deck on getting through the eJournal portal. And then over here, the educator link on the far right, if you have any questions about how to take our databases and move them to your own website, this is where you would go in and do that. We are a repository of content. And so we want people to come in and actually take the database and move it to their own website so that they have the easiest access possible to that content. And so we're kind of the facilitators of that, teachers, librarians, because our schools, the state of Michigan right now, our school buildings only 8% of our school buildings have certified media specialists. We have to deliver this information to our teachers because in a lot of cases, there is not that intermediary to tell everybody what's happening. So this is the place where you would go and grab that content. So we're going to jump in. Our first resource I'm just going to share with you briefly before we spend all of the rest of the time in the LearningExpress library. But we have 5 ebook collections, 2 for K-12, as I mentioned. This is the K-8 collection where you'll find 75 to 80% nonfiction, as with all of our ebook collections, and then a little bit of fiction sprinkled in. So like in here, we have the first 12, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. We have the Big Nate series, the Boxcar Children, tons of cookbooks, even Instapot recipes I looked up the other day, just all kinds of things in there. And for our early L, definitely Michigan books, those types of things. And we've done a lot of career searches in the ebook K-8 collection, all kinds of new 2020 career publications going in there. And then in the ebook high school collection, a lot of really great things. And we're going to jump out there right now and we're going to walk into the ebook high school collection and take a look at the career content in there. So I'm going to e-resources first. And when I click that, you'll notice a little change in the page. We have 3 different access points at the top here. The first to the left, this is a portal that's been organized for public library patrons and the databases that they most often access. And then we've done the same thing for our K-12 community and organized the databases they most often access. And then we have all of our e-resources, K-12 or A to Z, in a list at the right. But to emulate our colleges and universities throughout the state, so if you go to any community college, academic institution in the state of Michigan, everyone has this A to Z list of databases. So if I were to go to Western Michigan right now, they have about 600 databases organized on their library webpage. Michigan State University, 1,100 databases, and the University of Michigan, over 1,500 databases. So getting familiar with all kinds of vendors, Ebsco, Gale, ProQuest, Britannica, WorldBook. It's the best thing that we can do to ready our students and ready ourselves for what's coming next. So I'm clicking on letter E for our ebook collections. And as I mentioned, we have 5, but we've also built this tool at the top. This ebook, this full Ebsco collection, searches all 5 of the ebook collections as well as any other ebook collection in an Ebsco database. So if you're clicking on this first link, you are looking at every single ebook collection we have. We're going to scroll down to the ebook high school collection. And when you get there, you just have your basic search bar that comes up. And this, yes, very much like Google, but it's not intuitive like Google. So it's not going to spell things correctly for you in that way. Also at the top of the page, you get a carousel of recent books that have been added to the collection. And for some reason, I am not able to click on that carousel. So I'm not exactly sure why that is. Hopefully everything else will be working. So when I come here, I can do a simple search like career. And it will give me 720 results. If I don't specify anything else. So here are all of these books on different careers. You can see I can resort these books. So now they are listed as date newest. So now we have all 720 and we see some 2019 publications here. It was the K-8 that had the 2020. So a lot of new items being added to this collection. If I want to get a little bit more specific, I can expand my Boolean operator here at the top. And I do provide a link. So if you go into today's slide deck on that first page in the notes, I have links to all sorts of things. And one of those is a tool called Top 5 Search Strategies. And it will explain how to use this Boolean operator in more detail. But most every database that offers an article search also offers this Boolean operator tool. So we want to know that that's available. And then if I come in here and I just type career and we just put in music, for example, to look for resources on careers in music, then I get some more information. Okay, if I want to share items with you, let's do one more here. I can come in and now let's say I want to type in careers in the military. Okay, and I could even, if some things are showing up like biographies of individual people, I can say, okay, not biography. I want to exclude biographies from my list. So I can say, okay, I really want to narrow this down a little bit more. So now if I come over here to my share tool, I can actually share search results from the Ebsco databases with anyone else. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to drop it in the chat right now. So if any of you want to click on that, you should see these 25 search results that I put in with military, you know, finding careers or anything military related. And hopefully that is working. It's great to, you can drop this in your learning management tools with your students. You could do searches on just Shakespeare, on the sonnets of Shakespeare that come up. And actually a game changer that happened this fall is that Ebsco added almost all the classics that we teach in the canon in our high schools. So that was really, really huge, because before that, the only way you were going to access that kind of content was to make a major purchase in your building. And now that's all free and available in the ebook collection in Mel. So this is pretty simplistic. If I open a book, we'll just go to this professional hackers here, and I want to see the book, I can just click on PDF and it takes me directly into that ebook. If you have never been in an ebook before, the toggle tools at the bottom right, and I apologize, this is definitely loading slowly. So I did a refresh, but down here in the bottom right, there are 5 toggle tools, and this allows you to open the book that you're trying to see. And again, I'm not exactly sure. I have very fast internet, but it's just not opening for me right now. So let me go back a page. I'll go back to the result list. I'll try and open a different book and see if we have better luck. My apologies. This is our virtual learning experience, right? So let me open the second book here and see if I have better luck. Here we go, thankfully. So now when I want to make that full screen, I can come back down to those 4 arrows. And then I can scroll through the book, and this is even a little bit more full screen than I'd like it to be. So I can click the fit to page and make it more page-like. Now students can navigate through the book. You can also font up and make it bigger, font down. So a lot of different options. If you want to leave this screen, you can either click the 4 arrows again, or you can hit your escape key, and that will take you back to the landing page. But probably the most important thing to know about the ebooks or any of the other content in Mel is how to share it, especially with our students. So I'm going to show in the middle of the toolbar here at the top, the Permalink first. So I'm opening the Permalink, and this is really important to know if you want to share this content. So if I come in here and I click on the Permalink, which I'm going to do, I'm going to copy that and I drop it in the chat. So if any of you want to check that out, you can. So that should link directly to the book, but you might notice it's not linking to the title page, because when I grabbed that, I grabbed it from page 3. So you want to make sure that you're grabbing that permalink from the page that you want people to open the book. And it changes when you change the page. This little number at the end, or the letter scheme at the very end of the permalink, will change. But that's how you have to access and share the resources in MEL. If there is a permalink offered, that's number 1. If there's not a permalink offered, then you would use the URL. But when there's a permalink, so we have a permalink, you cannot come up and grab the URL, because it won't be the same. That URL has session data in it, and it's only good in this moment. So you're not going to be able to share that with the URL. Now, Britannica, our encyclopedia resource, does not offer a permalink, so you have to share the URL in order to share the page. So there's some differences depending on the resource you're using. Okay, we have a lot of other tools. One of them is Google Classroom. We can drop these directly into our classroom. So if I just click on that icon, I can see I'm having just a little loading problem today. I can select the class. Of course, these have already been built. And then I can create the assignment and click go. And now I can title the assignment, give instructions, and there's a link taking students directly to this web page or to this book. So it's super easy to add to your learning management system, whether you're using Permalink or Google Classroom. We can also drop books in Google Drive or give a full download, but if we do that, we need to build an account inside of Ebsco, and anyone in the state of Michigan can do that with a working email address. Also, citation. We have 9 different formats of citation in most of our resources, including MLA, APA, Chicago, and Harvard, which makes it an ideal resource for any kind of college research that you're doing. I just finished a grad class at Wayne State in December, and with the exception of 1 article, I did all my research in the databases of MEL. We had everything in those 9 databases, 7 databases that we have for professional learning. Really great. But I want to share even more about this, and I would love to, but I want to spend the rest of our time in the LearningExpress library. So I am going to jump out of the ebook collection, and we are going to take a look here. Go back to our landing page. We'll click on the e-resources. This time we are going to the LearningExpress library, and this is everything career oriented. This is kind of like one-stop shopping. Now, I know I might have a couple of college folks in the room. Typically, what we do is direct people always to go right to the high school library, but because we have some other audience members here, you might be more interested in the college library, and then we also have a public library field. These are actually 3 separate subscriptions that we've combined into one page. So I'm going to the high school library because behind here I have all kinds of test prep. So I'm opening the Prepare for College, the first center. These are actually called centers. And behind here we have all of those ACT, PSAT, SAT, and the AP exams. So all of the different AP exams are in here. Many of them have up to 4 different practice tests. Now, one thing that you'll notice about LearningExpress is that in order to access all of the content, you actually have to build an account in here. I can go in and see it. I'm not logged in right now, but as soon as I try and do something, it's going to tell me here, I'll open this biology test. It's going to say I have to sign in or register to begin. And that's very intentional, because when I do sign in, now if I want to start a practice test, it will hold my spot for me. So I don't have to come back and start it all the way over. It will just pick up where I left off. So I'll take a minute here to sign in to the LearningExpress, and I just had it remember my login credentials. There we go. So now if I go to my center, which is where I am, it kind of defaults here at the top. This is all of the information from working in LearningExpress library. So I don't have any tests that I've started, but I actually have started a couple. They're they just cleared them out. I've started some tutorials, downloaded a few ebooks. I've taken some computer classes inside of here. We have all kinds of computer classes, including all of the Microsoft 2019 courses are free. Different articles that I've looked at. I looked at the US Air Force fact sheet and the Coast Guard and the paramedic fact sheet. And here's my career dashboard. I've looked and saved 3 different occupations. You can see some other things. We have a scholarship finder, and that's recently been updated. So that was refreshing to see all kinds of updates there. So that's my center, all of the different things that I'm doing. I'm going to go to the home button. And now back into the high school library, and we were in the prepare for college. I'm going to skip through a few of these. They can see they're very specific to discipline, and open the Computer Skills Center so you can see the kind of courses that are offered. These are very traditional online courses. They run anywhere from 2 to 12 hours in length. You know, you have to go slowly and steady. You can't jump ahead, but here's a new Excel 2019 and a new Word 2019 that have been added. And you can also take courses on graphics and illustration with the Adobe Illustrator. And you can learn more about your Windows operating system. So there's several different things behind the Computer Skills Center. I'm going to go back to the top of the page, back to the home button. And this time I'm going next to it under career exploration. Now this gives us more of the vocational items. So we're not really into all of the things that we would have seen up here in the prepare for college. So this is kind of a different field. So I can come under learn about careers. There we go. And I can click on explore these types of careers here. So I can look at, say, explore careers in public safety. So if I click on that, then I get becoming a police officer, border patrol, some fact sheets here on some different professions. So that's just one example that you can see in there. Let me go back to, well, I'll go back to career exploration. Entering the military, there's ASVAB practice tests, CFAT practice test. If I want to learn about different areas of the military, I can click on about the military, and it gives me all the different fact sheets about the different areas of the military that I can enter. So I'm going to go back again to the home page. And then this last field, and I know I haven't explored completely, I know we're running near the end, but Job and Career Accelerator is probably the cat's meow of everything, in my opinion, in here. So there's a find a career match, a very traditional way of doing that. My favorite is the Explore Occupations. So I'm going to open the Explore Occupations in here. And when I click on that, it's going to give me some options. And one of those options at the top of the page, when I click on, so if I can go to green economy, they just added hot technologies. They just added the STEM occupations field. And here's one for military to college and then military to civilian career. And I loved these actually because I wrote an article not too long ago about this, and you can go in and you type in your exact military title and it will kick out the layman's term for that and what it looks like in the civilian world. So that was a pretty neat tool that they recently added in here. But let's just go to the in-demand occupation so you can see one of the occupation cards and what's in it. When I open this, and this is where I was going to say at the top, there is a field, a keyword search that often gets lost right up here at the very top. See, it's starting to come through. There we go. Because it will just default. When you click in demand, it's going to go right to in demand, and then I can select by industry group. But if you want to open this keyword field, you can also search by keyword just to go straight to the occupation. So let's take a look. We'll go into the construction field. And we'll go down here to dredge operators. I am clicking. All right, maybe I need to pick a different one. I don't know why it's not clicking in. I'm so sorry, everyone. Here we go. We're going somewhere. I'm not sure which one worked. So this is the occupation card, it looks like I ended up with construction managers, which is fine. At the top, you have a tool to change everything that you see from English to Spanish. So that's one option. You can also, you have a video card that can play here, finally opened, and then I can share or embed a link to this video card so we can just extract the video and watch and see what construction managers do. And then here I get the wage and trend data. So the average salary in this position in the US is 105,000, but in Alabama, it's 98. How many people are employed in this profession, both nationwide and by state, projected growth, and then current job openings. And then if I come down, you can see I can expand knowledge, skills, and abilities for this career, tasks and activities. On down the line to education and training to do this job, web resources that are associated. And then we have the view available jobs at the very bottom. I've not indicated any kind of location here. So I think it's just finding where my IP address is coming from. So here we have power home remodeling, time consulting engineers. These are actually coming from everywhere. They're not just Indeed, they're not just Monster. They're coming from websites, they're coming from those places. It's just a real nice kind of thing to do. Okay, so that is the Job and Career Accelerator looking at occupations. I know I'm about 3 minutes over. I'd like to show you just one more thing before I walk away from this, also in the Job and Career Accelerator, and that's the Discover Schools and Scholarships. But please, I know I'm jumping right to the end here. There's a lot in there. And so if we go to Discover Schools and Scholarships, we can actually match our interest to potential colleges. We can look through 2-year colleges, 4-year colleges, things that are just in Michigan, things that are out of Michigan. You can look by all sorts of different fields to find your college. I'm actually going to jump into the scholarship finder here. And this is one of those things that I know has been updated because some of the scholarships were actually removed, which is okay because I like knowing that they're in there working on this and keeping it fresh for all of us. So in the scholarship finder, if I come down here, I could type in, say, nursing, I could type in engineering, I could type in specific things, I could select an academic year, where I am, the SAT scores, all of that. Or I can just say, I want to see what scholarships are offered only in the state of Michigan. So I can type in Michigan and we have over 2,500 scholarships offered with some basic information about those scholarships here. So when is that deadline? It's going to come up. I'm going to open the Michigan Tech Scholarship. And this is giving me more information. It requires an ACT score of 26, a 3.0 GPA. I learned that they only give out one $1,500 scholarship a year. Here's my link to scholarship coordinator for this scholarship. And then a little bit more. When is the deadline? Will I get the money back when I apply? No. 1 on average, and it's required that you're in the field of engineering to apply for this grant. So Scholarship Finder, LearningExpress Library, all amazing resources. And I know that I didn't show e-journals yet, and I kind of want to ask, is it okay to show one more thing? Does everyone have time?
Yeah, I think people would be mad if we didn't.
Okay.
So we'll let people, if they need to leave, but I told Ann we'd be together till about 11:45. So yes, please share that. And then any other questions, we'll take it then.
Awesome, thank you. So before I jump in here into the e-journals, just behind the educator portal, I wanted to point out the professional learning resources tab. So if you come in here, we identify the different professional learning. So those of you working on any kind of degrees, post-secondary, post-collegiate degrees, these are the tools that you would use to do that. So I wanted to make sure that you knew that was there. And then all of the e-journals, all of the resources that provide content for those different databases can be found behind this e-journal portal. So this is the top center link on that MEL landing page. So if I come in here under library publications, and I'm just going to, throw it out there, People Magazine. So if that's what you want, you can type it in. If you see it, grab it. That's kind of the rule here of their autofill feature. So we'll go in there, and then what we're going to do is grab the most recent article in People magazine. And the first thing we see are the 4 different databases that have a subscription to People magazine. So if I come in here and just click Academic Search Complete, has a subscription to People. I can come over to March, click on that, and now if I want to read next Monday's People magazine, I can open that up just by clicking it. And now, and I know we haven't spent any time working with PDF and HTML, but PDF is that original full color publication that we would have seen in the magazine. And then HTML offers more accessibility. So you have text to speech and translation. So we love it when publications offer both PDF and HTML. And when you open a PDF in any of the databases in MEL, whether you're here or going through a database to get there, you're actually opening the entire publication. So I just opened the PDF, and now over here to the right, I have the entire March 29th, 2021 People magazine. I have articles 1 through 5, 6 through 10, articles 11 through 15, and then I can just browse through People magazine as if I were looking, you know, at it in the leisure of my own home. So if you want to share these, there's a permalink down here at the bottom right of the page. So you can click on that permalink and expose it up at the top and then share this article. So I am not going to share an article because we're pressed for time. But another really, really great thing about this, I'm going to go back to that chatter page so it opens again, is that if you're doing research and you open any of these publications, you can just go right here to your Google Drive tool if you're a Google Drive user and click on it, and it will actually drop that article. It'll say, please wait while you're redirected to Google. Click OK. Now when I come up here to Google Drive and I refresh, that is the most recent article that's been added to my Google Drive, and Ebsco puts it in a folder for you and organizes it alphabetically. So I just opened my folder, and that People magazine should be in here. I believe it's right here, and I'm not able to see it yet.
Yeah, I saw it.
Things are a little
there.
slow.
I saw
it.
It
Is okay.
Yeah. Under
Thank
chatter,
you.
the C, there it is.
Yep. Okay, so one other thing that you can do here that I've identified in your slide deck. So we'll go into educational leadership this time. We'll do something a little bit more academic. And the databases. So if anyone in the state is still subscribing to this, they should not be, because we get it for free in 9 different databases. So I'm going to click on Academic Search Complete. And now, instead of just pulling up the most recent issue of Ed Leadership, I can come over here and do this search within this publication, which then brings me to my Boolean operator. And now I'm looking just in Ed Leadership. And let's say I'm looking for items on formative assessment. So it's only going to look for anything in the Ed Leadership that's been published, in this case from 1999 to 2021. I could even change that rangefinder here and say I just want to look at articles from the last 6 years that were published in the Ed Leadership. And then if I want to, I can resort those by date newest. And once again, I get that share tool here, and this will be the last thing that I share with you. And we will, whoops, I apologize there. I accidentally clicked on where I didn't want to. So if I come back over here to share and copy that, and now I will paste and send that to everyone. Okay. So that is pretty much wrapping it up for today. I appreciate your indulgence to letting me go a little bit longer this morning. It was not intentional. I was hoping to be done, but everything was just a little slow. I am going to drop an evaluation tool. We are funded by a federal grant. If you have a moment, it is just 4 multiple choice questions about library services. So yeah, and thank you. And thank you for all the kind words in the chat. Somebody sent a message about one-on-one. Really don't have the capacity. I'm currently the only trainer in the state, so we work with groups. But what I have done is, if I have training coming up and you're interested in some of that training, I can let you piggyback on our training sessions. So that has happened a few times, and I've actually had public librarians join school sessions and vice versa. So Definitely the more the merrier. We want people to know about Mel, and would be happy to coordinate training sessions. If you're a single, I can match you. This is like a ski slope thing. So we can match you with some other people. So any questions at all? This would be a great time for questions. Oh, thank you, Brad. And everyone, Andrea, very nice things.
Everybody's super excited for sure. I just wanted to put this up there again for your email. And then mel.org is that main website where you started.
Yes.
I know everybody's just going, minds are blown.
I know. And if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to reach out. I'm still filling August slots for back to school professional development. So a lot of things coming up, and you are more than welcome.
Thank you, Anne. You gave an incredibly thorough, short introduction. I mean, it got us definitely going, and I really, really appreciate that. I know everybody's really excited. You could tell by the comments. In our last minute here, I just wanted to plug our next Career Cafe, which will be April 13th. Our topic is going to be focusing on the benefits, importance of belonging to a professional organization. And so we're going to have one of our board members, Erin Leeson, and our president, April Bilkowski, talk about the credentialing that the NCDA can offer and really the benefits to you as a professional and your clients to be part of a professional organization. And we'll be sending out that link as soon as it's ready. So Anne, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, everyone. You have a great day.
All right, everybody. Bye-bye now.